It was an ordinary day at Bella Lux Salon, a popular hair and beauty boutique located in the heart of the city. The staff bustled about, attending to their customers with warm smiles and practiced precision. The salon was known for its luxurious ambiance, where soft music played in the background and the scent of lavender wafted through the air. Yet, beneath this polished exterior, not everything was as perfect as it seemed. Unbeknownst to the employees, their unassuming new customer, who had just walked in for a haircut, was no ordinary man. Dressed casually in a plain t-shirt and jeans, he blended effortlessly into the crowd. He took a seat in the waiting area, observing everything with a keen eye. This was Jonathan Blake, the CEO and founder of Bella Lux Salon. Jonathan had built the salon chain from the ground up. He had poured his heart and soul into creating a space where customers felt pampered and valued, but more importantly, where employees were treated with respect and fairness. Over the years, as the brand expanded and he became more removed from daily operations, Jonathan started hearing troubling whispers about some of the staff's behavior. Customers complained of rude stylists, employees mentioned favoritism, and he even heard rumors of some workers being mistreated. Determined to get to the root of the problem, Jonathan decided to go undercover. He wanted to experience firsthand how his salon operated. When no one knew, determined to get to the root of the problem, Jonathan decided to go undercover. He wanted to experience firsthand how his salon operated when no one knew who he was. So, with a fake name, minimal grooming, and an alias, he booked an appointment as Tom Walters. As he sat in the waiting area, the buzz of the salon carried on around him. Customers chatted, stylists laughed, and the receptionist answered calls with a professional demeanor. At first glance, everything seemed perfect. But Jonathan had trained himself to notice the subtleties, the forced smiles, the whispered conversations among employees, and the way some customers were treated differently than others. It didn't take long for Jonathan's undercover visit to take an interesting turn. As he waited, he overheard two stylists standing behind him, whispering. They didn't realize he could hear them, nor did they suspect he was anyone important. "I can't believe we have to deal with these cheap customers," one stylist sneered, glancing toward Jonathan. "Look at him. Probably won't even tip." The other stylist laughed. "He's probably one of those coupon guys. Comes in for a discount and leaves without paying extra." Jonathan froze in his seat, the words hitting him like a brick wall. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. The stylists weren't just judging him. They were openly mocking the very kind of customer he had designed the salon to welcome. It wasn't about the money for Jonathan. It was about creating an inclusive environment where everyone felt valued. But the insults didn't stop there. "Honestly, management doesn't even care who they hire these days," the first stylist said. "They'd hire anyone with a pulse. It's embarrassing working here sometimes." Jonathan felt a pang of anger and disappointment. These weren't the values he had built his business upon. He had always emphasized respect, kindness, and professionalism. Yet, here were employees who not only disrespected customers, but also took pride in their arrogance. Jonathan decided to wait and see how the rest of his visit would unfold. When his name was called, he was assigned to one of the very stylists who had mocked him moments earlier. She greeted him with a forced smile, her demeanor dripping with fake politeness. "So, what are we doing today?" she asked, her tone flat and uninterested. "Just a simple haircut," Jonathan replied, keeping his tone neutral. As she worked on his hair, she made no effort to engage in genuine conversation. Instead, she stuck to generic small talk, her eyes darting around the salon as if she were bored. It was clear she had no passion for her work. Jonathan couldn't help but think about the countless customers who had likely endured the same treatment. As the appointment wrapped up, the stylist handed him a mirror without so much as a smile. "All done," she said, stepping back. Jonathan nodded and handed her a tip, despite the poor service. He wanted to see how she would react. She barely glanced at the cash before shoving it into her pocket and walking away. Leaving the salon, Jonathan felt a mixture of sadness and resolve. He had seen enough. It was time to take action. The very next day, Jonathan called an emergency staff meeting at the salon. Still disguised as Tom Walters, He entered the room where his employees were gathered, some visibly confused about the sudden meeting and the presence of a stranger. Jonathan stood at the front, letting the murmurs settle before pulling off his disguise. Gasps rippled through the room as the staff realized who he truly was, their boss. Some looked surprised, others nervous, and a few couldn't even meet his gaze. "I went undercover yesterday as a customer," Jonathan began, his voice calm but firm. "I wanted to see how this salon operates when no one knows I'm watching. What I witnessed was both disappointing and unacceptable." The room was silent. Everyone knew something serious was coming. I heard employees openly mock customers, call them cheap, and judge them based on appearances. I saw a lack of enthusiasm, professionalism, and respect, things this salon was built upon. Let me remind you all, our mission is to make every single person who walks through those doors feel valued and cared for, no matter who they are. Jonathan's eyes scanned the room, landing on the two stylists who had been the culprits the previous day. Their faces turned pale as they realized they were about to be addressed. "To those who made fun of a customer yesterday, me, specifically, you've not only disrespected a client but also the values of this business," he continued, his tone sharper now. "Mocking someone for being cheap? Judging them for using a coupon? That is not the kind of behavior that will ever be tolerated here." One of the stylists, clearly panicking, tried to interject. "I didn't mean—" Jonathan held up a hand to stop her. "Save it. I'm not here to hear excuses. This isn't about me. This is about every customer you've treated poorly, every person who's walked out of this salon feeling unwelcome or judged because of your behavior." Jonathan then turned to the rest of the staff. "This is a wake-up call for all of us. If we lose sight of our values, we lose the trust of our customers, and eventually, this business will fail. I refuse to let that happen." He paused, letting his words sink in. Then, he delivered the consequences. "To those who mocked me yesterday, consider this your first and final warning. You're being put on probation, and any further incidents will result in immediate termination." The two stylists nodded, their faces red with embarrassment. "As for the rest of you, I expect better. I'll be implementing stricter guidelines for customer service and scheduling regular training sessions to ensure everyone is on the same page. This isn't just a job, it's a responsibility to make people feel good about themselves." Jonathan ended the meeting with a clear message. "We can do better, and we will. This salon is a reflection of all of us. Let's make it something we're proud of." As the staff filed out of the room, the atmosphere was tense but hopeful. Jonathan knew there was still work to be done, but he was determined to rebuild trust and set a higher standard for his business. In the weeks that followed, Jonathan put his plan into action. The salon underwent a complete transformation, not just physically but culturally. He implemented comprehensive customer service training, emphasizing empathy, respect, and professionalism. Every employee, including the two stylists who had been reprimanded, was required to attend. Jonathan also introduced an anonymous feedback system for clients. This allowed customers to voice their opinions and share their experiences without fear of judgment, helping the salon identify areas for improvement. To reinforce his message, Jonathan created a new set of core values for the salon, displayed prominently on the wall near the reception area. The plaque read, "Our mission is to celebrate every individual who walks through our doors. We are here to provide exceptional service, create meaningful connections, and ensure every client feels valued, respected, and beautiful." Beyond these internal changes, Jonathan also made an effort to give back to the community. He organized free haircut events for underprivileged individuals, inviting homeless shelters and low-income families to participate. These events not only boosted the salon's reputation, but also reminded the staff of the importance of kindness and generosity. The two stylists who had mocked Jonathan began to change their ways. At first, their efforts seemed half-hearted, driven by fear of losing their jobs. But over time, they genuinely embraced the salon's new culture. They started treating customers with warmth and care, understanding that their words and actions carried weight. One day, a middle-aged woman came into the salon with a worn-out coupon in hand. Instead of mocking her, The stylists welcomed her with open arms. As they worked on her hair, they learned she was a single mother who had been saving up for months to afford a small treat for herself. Moved by her story, the staff pooled their tips to cover her entire service, leaving her in tears of gratitude. Stories like this became common at the salon, and word began to spread. Customers flocked to the salon, not just for the quality of the services, but for the genuine kindness and respect they received. Jonathan saw the transformation firsthand and felt a deep sense of pride. His decision to go undercover had sparked a much-needed change, turning the salon into a beacon of positivity in the community. Months later, during a staff meeting, Jonathan stood before his team, no longer as Tom Walters, but as the leader they all respected. "You've all shown that change is possible," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "This salon is now more than just a business, it's a family, and I couldn't be prouder of the work we've done together." The room erupted in applause, the once tense atmosphere replaced with a sense of unity and purpose. Jonathan knew there would always be challenges ahead, but with a team that now understood the power of compassion and respect, he was confident they could face anything. And as for Jonathan's secret identity as Tom Walters, it became a legendary story among the staff, serving as a constant reminder that you never know who might be watching, and that kindness should always come first. The revelation of the undercover boss's identity sends shockwaves through the salon. The two stylists who had mocked customers were frozen in disbelief, their smug expressions replaced with sheer panic. The other employees, stunned but relieved, were curious about what this meant for the salon's future. The boss, now in his regular professional attire, called a meeting with the entire team. His tone was calm but firm as he recounted his experience as a new hire. He highlighted the strengths of the salon, those employees who treated clients with respect, the warm smiles at the reception desk, and the genuine care shown by many. Then, he addressed the glaring issues. The toxic attitudes of the two stylists and their negative impact on the team and clients were unacceptable. He gave everyone a chance to speak. The two stylists, teary-eyed and remorseful, apologized. They admitted their insecurities and frustration had led them to lash out, but they begged for another chance to prove they could change. Other employees, while upset, expressed a willingness to give them that chance if they were serious about improving. The boss decided to implement a transformative plan for the salon. First, he announced mandatory training sessions focused on empathy, professionalism, and customer service. Second, he introduced an anonymous feedback system where employees and clients could voice their concerns. Third, he added a performance-based reward program to encourage positive behavior and teamwork. Over the next few months, the salon underwent a remarkable transformation. The two stylists, under mentorship and guidance, became some of the salon's most supportive team members. The staff began working together more harmoniously, and clients noticed the shift in atmosphere. Word spread about the salon's dedication to customer satisfaction, and business boomed like never before. The boss, now admired for his leadership, took a moment to reflect. What began as a simple undercover visit had turned into a journey of redemption and growth for everyone involved. He realized that leadership wasn't just about running a business, it was about inspiring change, creating opportunities for growth, and building a community where everyone felt valued. 1 year later, the salon was featured in a local magazine as a Business of the Year, praised for its exceptional service and positive work culture. The boss stood among his team, proud of what they had achieved together. As the photographer snapped their picture, he couldn't help but smile, knowing that this transformation wasn't just about a salon, it was about the power of second chances and the impact of genuine leadership.